Friday, and I have taken my concrete mushrooms or cement mushrooms out of the molds, and these came out really smooth. They were actually kind of shiny, so I just took a piece of sandpaper and sanded them down so that it would be a little more porous, so that the adhesive would stick to it better. For the stems, I had to cut the buckets open to get them out, but I can still reuse these. I just need to use a piece of masking tape and tape those if I want to reuse these containers again. So all we're going to need for this step is the adhesive and a little spatula, or I'm using a plastic knife, and then your glass beads or whatever you're going to use to decorate with. So you can see that the top here is flat, so we'll just build it up with the adhesive before we stick our stones on there, and it'll take a couple of days to dry. So I've already done the other mushroom, and since it's dark right now, I'll show you tomorrow what it looks like. So maybe by Sunday I'll be able to grout these. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start building up the top and putting my stones on. Okay, so first thing you want to do before you actually start decorating is pick a color theme and kind of a design that you want to try to make on the stones or on the mushroom or whatever you're working on. Now I've got the adhesive here. It's kind of a thick paste texture, and the good thing about this is it dries kind of slowly, so if you don't like what you're doing, you can just pull the little glass stones off. So for this one, I'm going to do a purple. I got some little bitty purple beads and some little white or clear ones, so that's going to be my theme. And I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do like stripes or spots. I'll probably do spots, but anyway, I'm going to just take a bunch of this and plop it on the top of the mushroom and make it kind of a mound shape. Okay, so that's roughly mound shape. So I'm going to go ahead and start working from this part right here, and then as I need it, I'll just put some more. Bug just flew into my hair. I'll put some more on it as I need. So I think I'm just going to do spots. Those are easy to do. So I'm going to start with my purple beads, and I'll go from there. So just start sticking them on. And you don't want to squish them down in there, obviously, because this part's really soft. But once you get to here, you want to smooth on a layer that's about 1 millimeter thick, so that you can push your stones down into it. But you don't want it to goop up around the sides, because you are going to grout this. So I'm just going to go ahead and start. So just remember that this part right here, just be careful and just go to town. Alright, so I have finished putting the stones on my mushroom caps, and you can see it's kind of still a little bit soft, but it's not so soft that when I go to grout it that they're going to sink into the mortar. So you can see when I took this out of the mold that the tape got covered over a little bit by some of the cement, but the inside didn't get filled. So basically it was just a real thin layer of cement there, so I just took a little nail and broke through that layer and then cleaned out the inside so that I can screw the cap into the base. So I'm going to go ahead and grout this, and so what I used was the stepping stone mix, and I'm not entirely sure, but I think that that's just Portland cement, so it doesn't have the aggregate, the stones inside, like a concrete mix does. So I've already mixed up some of it, and it's kind of thick because you want it to hold its shape when you put it on there. So I've got the stepping stone mix I'm using as the grout, a container for water. I've got some water and a rag to clean it up after I put it on there, and since I'm going to put it on just with my hands, I've got a couple of rubber gloves here. And then I've also got my acrylic paint, a paintbrush, and a little pot because I'm going to kind of water the paint down when I put it on there. So what you want to do when you're putting it on is kind of swirl it around so that you get it down in the grooves between the stones. So I'm just kind of rubbing it in. Okay, so that's about right. I'm just going to kind of smooth it down, make sure it's pressed in really well, kind of smooth off my edges here with the base of the cap here. And I'm just going to let this sit for a few minutes, maybe 30 minutes or so, let it set up a little bit before I start to clean it off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grout my other cap and let this one set, and then I'll clean them up. Okay, so now that this is set up for a few minutes, you can kind of push on the surface and see it's not really sinking in anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and do a first wipe down to get some of the cement off of there. Oops. So I'm not trying to dig into the grout or anything, I'm just sort of wiping it off so that I uncover the stones. So if you were doing this, you could also use grout, like actual grout for some ceramic tile, and probably an unsanded grout, so like if you were doing a marble floor or something like that. But I like the concrete look, it's more rustic, I think. Or this is cement. I keep using them backwards. And I like using the white adhesive. You can get it in black as well if you get it like at the craft stores. But I like using the white because it shows up behind the lighter colored stones really well. So just do whatever you think you would like, obviously, and just sort of experiment, I guess. So basically what I'm trying to do is just get the shapes of the stones to show up. I'm not trying to completely clean it, because I am going to paint over this and it's going to be more colorful than this. But I don't want, you know, like this one was kind of buried in the cement, so I'm just kind of uncovering the stones as much as possible. Because what we're going to do is I'm going to paint this cement while it's still wet so that it keeps the color. And then I'll go over and do, you know, like when you're putting down tile, you got to get the haze off of the stones. I'm not going to do that until after it's completely dry. And I'm sure some of the color will come off in that process as well, but I'm not too worried about it. Okay, so I got some different kind of acrylic paints, or two different sets. I got some Reeves and some Liquitex brand. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just mix these two colors to try to match kind of this color of the stone here. So I'm just going to take a little bit and put it in my pot and then mix it with some water to thin it down, and I'll be right back. Okay, so you can see that I'm kind of close, and I'm going to use this color to paint my grout. So I've just got it mixed up in my little cup here, so I'm going to go ahead and get started painting. Oh Lord, they really don't know how to act now. Okay, so these are the painted mushrooms. They kind of look funny right now. Anyway, I'm going to leave them out here to dry for, I don't know, however long it takes, I guess, or whenever I get back to it. And then I'll come out here and clean them up. I'll probably use like a soft nylon brush or something like that to clear it off. Get all the paint off the stones, and then maybe kind of weather the paint on the grout. But so far I'm liking how they turned out, and I'll just keep playing with them until they end up looking like what I want them to. So I'll see you next time. Alright, so these have dried for I guess about 6 hours now, and I checked them and it seems like everything's dried solid. So I'm going ahead and cleaning them up. So what I'm using is just a Brillo pad and water, and I'm just going to wet it down and scrub it off. Okay, so just continue to do that until all of the haze and paint is off of the stones, and then I'll be ready to work on the stem of the mushrooms. So I think I'll probably just paint those kind of tan colored. So anyway, I'll be back with the next step later. Alright, that's both of the mushrooms mostly cleaned off. I still got to do a little scrubbing around some of the stones and maybe touch up where the paint came off in bigger sections than I wanted it to. So anyway, I'll probably finish that up tomorrow after work. I don't know. Alright, so I have finished the caps. I had to do a little patchwork on the purple one around here, and then I recolored this one. After a day or two, I wasn't really in love with the bright blue that was on there, so I just put another color over it. I just toned down the blue a little bit so that it kind of matches these little stones here rather than this stone. So anyway, I like it a lot better now. So now I'm going to go ahead and paint the stems, and then I should be completely done with the mushrooms. So I'm going to go set up and paint the stems. Alright, so to paint the stems, I'm going to try to do a tan color. So I've got a white, a brown, and a yellow ochre color. and I'm just going to mix them together until I get the tan that I want, and then I may add a little more brown and then do like a, I don't know how you know how like mushrooms have little spots on them and stuff like that on the stems, or little bruises or whatever, I don't know what they are, but I'm going to try to kind of recreate that, but we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to go ahead and mix up the paint and then I'll get started. Alright, so this is the tan color I came up with, so I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to go ahead and paint my stems with this color, and then I'll go over them to enhance them or whatever with a darker color. So we'll just sort of brush this on. So I'm just kind of brushing in all directions to kind of rub the paint into the cement so that it doesn't really show like really obvious brush strokes. But obviously I'm not a painter, so this ain't gonna be perfect. Alright, so I finished painting them the base coat that I was the color base coat that I picked out or mixed up or whatever, and I just added a little bit of brown, or I guess it's really burnt sienna, to what I had left over from my base coat, just to darken it up a little bit. And now I'm just gonna accent it or whatever, so I'm just gonna put a little darker up here where it actually is going to be shadowed by the cap of the mushroom. Alright, so anyway, like I said, I'm no artist, but it's the stem, so you're not really going to see it. Alright, so I just finished painting the stems, and so what I did was I just finished doing where I brushed some on and then blotted it off, and then I took what was left on the brush, kind of dried it off a little bit, and then just stroked it over the stem real lightly, so there's just little stripes of color, of the darker color on there. So I'm going to go get the caps, and I'm going to paint the underside of them with the remaining brown color because I just still have some left over. Alright, there are the bottoms of the caps painted. After I used the rest of the leftover paint, I decided to add the little stripes that you see on the bottom of mushrooms. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put these on the cap, or on the stems, and they are finished. Alright, so here are the final product. So, I hope you enjoyed it, and if you make one, I want a picture. So, I think these are going to be gifts, so of course I'm going to have to make some for me. But I think my next project after that, or at the same time, are going to be some stepping stones, and maybe some hypertufa. So we'll just have to see. See y'all later. Bye.